Microsoft is doubling down on their chat GPT investment, and they're thinking about integrating chat GPT into all of their services that we know and love, from Word to PowerPoint to Office to Azure. And Azure is actually going to have an OpenAI service with chat GPT coming soon. And what that will do is it will enable businesses to bring OpenAI's tools and models into their own apps, platforms, and services. A good example of this is Dolly. Everyone knows that you can type a prompt in, it can generate an image. OpenAI has popularized this, and you've seen variations of it with Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, and tons more. Lens AI even kind of uses a variant of that. And what's fascinating is when Microsoft opens this up and they just enable AI for everyone to be used, you know, it's going to be a very interesting world. Like, AI is here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also like just how many customers and users Microsoft has on all of their software suite. Like I came across a YouTube video of this dude that was like, here's how to use Chat GPT to supercharge your Excel spreadsheet workflow and stuff. And he basically goes into Excel, uses the search function, like search bar or whatever, and it doesn't know how to like give you a function just out of Excel. If you want to know how to like format, if I want to add these cells, it wouldn't do that. So he just goes over to Chat GPT. That thing can spew out whatever function you need it to do. And so it just makes like perfect sense. Like if people are finding these hacky ways around it, there's no reason why it shouldn't just be native to the tool.
No, that's cool. And I mean, I agree with you. They're on a press run for sure. I saw
Yeah.
that Sam Altman also did an interview with a few publications. And one of the things that stood out to me is the interviewer asked him about his own use of Chat GPT. And he said, I would much rather have Chat GPT teach me something than to go read a textbook. So I figured for this, we could actually get into the segment where we use Chat GPT. I think you told me you wanted to learn about salary caps in the NBA, if I remember correctly, right?
I did, yes. I'm a massive NBA fanatic. I watch it every night, have for the last half decade, and all the way back to my childhood. And for as massive of a fan I am, I've never understood the business side of the NBA. So hopefully I can learn something here.
Let's see. So it says, okay, so the NBA is a league where lots of really good basketball players play for different teams, but the teams don't have an unlimited amount of money to spend on players. So the NBA has something called a salary cap, which is like a limit on how much money each team can spend on players' salaries. This will help make sure that no team can just buy all the best players and win all the time. It also makes the league more fair and more fun to watch. Like how you can only spend a certain amount of money you have saved up on toys, NBA teams can only spend a certain amount of money on players. Get it?
Dog, I didn't need to know how to, like I'm 5. I need to know the nuances.
Like, what do you want to know?
So specifically what I want to know about salary caps is why it makes sense, why it makes sense for a player to stick to one team, like how they can make more money by playing just for one team versus shopping around their supermax wherever. So like I don't understand the supermax versus the extension versus like all the different contract lingo of salary. That's specifically what I mean. I know that a salary cap is meant so that, you know, the Warriors can't just buy all their players, which they do already. So actually explain to me like I'm 5 was wrong, because the Warriors do that, and they go over the salary cap and they pay what's called a luxury tax. Another thing I don't necessarily understand.
I mean, it sounds like your questions. Let's see what it says. This doesn't seem like it's going to teach you what you need to know.
Just ask it like the different types of NBA contracts. That start there. NBA player contracts. This isn't necessary. This is just opinion. I don't need to know this.
Let's see. I mean,
Yep, rookie.
this man is really learning about NBA off of Chat GPT. This is why I can't. I guess you couldn't learn this on Wikipedia.
I mean, so far I could.
He said so far.
So far, ChatGPT's not winning
Why you say that?
because there's definitely people who have just written about here's the easiest way to understand the business side of the NBA.
I mean, I don't think we what so it says there's like 6 different contracts. What do you see? Do you see what you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the restricted versus unrestricted free agency. Yeah, kind of helpful. I guess maybe this is probably an error of prompting. I think we'll chalk it up to that, you know.
I mean, what do you want to know though? What are you missing?
So the main thing I'm missing here is like really the dynamics of all the money side, because like there's discrepancies between teams. I know that as well, like in what they're allowed to spend versus what other teams are allowed to spend. Why is that the case? Because certain teams just simply can't afford to get a Harden or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. So, what's the question?
Well, I'm help me figure out a question here, bro.
No, I mean, like, I'm still trying to. So you just want to know? I still don't. I don't. The nuance here is like, I think Chat GPT can be probably a very useful teacher in the sense that you can't keep asking it questions that it can keep giving you different answers.
But here's the thing: is like oftentimes. So here's a critique: is oftentimes if you're looking to learn something, you don't necessarily know the questions you need to ask. You know what I mean?
Well,
and I think that's where it gets hung up. So in my head, I know what I want to know, but I don't know how to ask it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you start with you can go down the who, what, when, where, and why. Like you can start with the 5 W's, and like that can get you closer, and then you can keep asking questions in that regard. That's one way to learn.
Not necessarily a helpful framework in this sense.
What is the so here's the what is it you're trying to understand? Let's start with what.
What I'm trying to understand is like ultimately the money decisions behind player contracts essentially, and why like at the end of the day it doesn't just come down to I want to go play for this team. This is the how basically how the money side of the equation, the player's contract side of the equation essentially restricts player movement or enables it to happen. So help me formulate from there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess
you're not an NBA guy, so maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I get what you're saying. It's like if the Bucks sign Giannis and then they use most of their money to retain Giannis, how do they build up the rest of their team, and what implications does that?
No, so is it so like for instance, when they always talk about the supermax contract, like what's there you go. What's a supermax contract?
I thought that was like when it's the
having played at least 8 years in the NBA, being named NBA All-Star. So to qualify, you gotta be an All-Star, be a vet, essentially. Yeah. Okay. So I generally understand. So I guess from here, like what creates a team's salary cap? Like what defines it? What why does every team have a different salary cap? Because to my understanding, everyone doesn't just have a cap of 150 million. So salary cap for each team is determined by the league based on several factors, such as the league's revenue and overall financial health of the team. Change year to year. Soft caps, hard caps, which are different levels of salary cap restrictions. Team that can go over the soft cap will face penalties such as the luxury tax. So that's the luxury tax thing that the Golden State Warriors always get. All right, ask it what. Can you ask it what each team's salary cap was? So really it comes down to what the league deems is a big market team and what isn't, which is kind of BS. But I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think ChatGPT as a teacher is fine, bro. Like you can't get this anywhere else. I mean,
you can. So here's where is that, like I said, it doesn't guide your knowledge. You have to know exactly what you want to know. This isn't going to like give you the article where you read the article and then, or the Wikipedia where you get all these wiki links that point you somewhere else. Oh, I'm going down the rabbit hole of learning this stuff. So that's where I would say it is different.
No, I think you guided your own learning though. Like I watched you, I just did the prompts. Like I feel like, I think asking questions, we had, really a lot of these fall in this is a why question, a what question, a what question. This was a more of an inform, like I guess an informative. It's like, yeah, we're informing, we're asking if we know something and that is true, and then another what question. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like as a teacher, I do see what Sam Altman is saying. Like, what you would much rather have ChatGPT teach him something rather than go read a textbook. Because when I go read a textbook, it's a set path of learning. Like I'm reading a book. It's called How to Take Smart Notes, right? And I don't know if it's going to show up, but like this is a set path to learn note taking. And if I go through this and I don't get it, then I have to go elsewhere. And, I missed all the information from it. And I think that like, it's a way of learning, it's a style of learning, but like, I'm all for innovative learning styles. And I do think that the problem with ChatGPT and its current iteration is, the training data, I don't think a lot of people have a ton of confidence in that just yet. And, I think with Microsoft getting behind it and putting it in their products, like a PowerPoint, like a Word, like a Excel, you're going to need a certain level of you're going to need a certain level of authenticity to the data, but also you're going to need integrity, because Microsoft's not going to put their name on some nonsense, right? Like it's Microsoft. They're not going to do that. It's too much to risk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say like, just in my own practice, I think I personally prefer ChatGPT as a creative collaborator. I have a lot more fun doing it that way. On the tutoring side, like I said, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Also, definitely is a totally different experience than Google searching. Like I will get that. That's the one thing. The other thing is that like, you truly do need to be a curious individual. I think if the more curious you are, the more effective that ChatGPT is. If you're not somebody who's just has a lot of questions about the world, then I don't necessarily see it being the best tutor for you. Some people need that structure. They need someone to guide them through the process.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, at the end of the day,
what's your take? What do you want to learn?
I mean, I'm learning Japanese with ChatGPT. I mean, that's what prompted you to come on the show. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's working for me, right? Like I can jump in and it works largely. And I think that that's what's cool about it to me is the fact that we have for the first time a tool where I can practice at 2 a.m. I can practice at 1 p.m. I can practice at lunch, and I could really get a different personalized experience each time. And no, it's not the best. Like again, the training data here is there's more to be desired. But as with anything, like the first iPhone, you didn't have cut and paste. You didn't have even an app store, even right. So there was the promise of something that could be great, and we eventually got there. Look at how many people use the iPhone today. But in the beginning, the BlackBerry was definitely a superior phone and device. I think right now, like, if I were to do this and just say, explain NBA salary caps, uh, I've got to go through either Wikipedia, which is it's pretty reliable. Like I've learned a lot of stuff off Wikipedia, or I've got to do my own research. So you're gonna click, you're gonna go through that rabbit hole, and quite frankly, you're smart. You do that. But I got a lot of friends that will never go to even the second page of Google, much less take this much of a scroll down Google. And guess where they'll go? They're going to go to TikTok. They're going to go to Instagram. They're going to go to the three people that they know, ask the same question, and then they're going to take the best information from the three people they go talk to, and that's going to be it. I'm in a lot of group chats. I get a lot of people that ask me a lot of questions, and I know that definitively after they ask me that, they're taking that as like the Bible.
Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily that doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're going to want to use ChatGPT to search stuff. If they already have the habit of not searching on their own for the knowledge and just taking someone's word.
Well, that's where this gets very fascinating, right? It's like when we were talking about in the beginning, when we talked about Microsoft bringing this into an API where it's connected to their cloud offering, Microsoft Azure. This can now be in other apps and applications. So if you use Wordle every day, that's the game. You still play that game every day?
No.
What game are you playing these days?
I cut it all out, but just say Sudoku.
Okay, so let's say I make the most popular Sudoku app or chess app, and I want to learn in real time. You can probably use it. You can integrate. Somebody's going to integrate chess and ChatGPT if they haven't already, and that's now going to be your way of interfacing with these new algorithms and AI models. I think that that's what makes this fascinating. Is like you're going to have a point where you're watching a YouTube video, and in the middle of the YouTube video, someone brings up a concept, and there's going to be a prompt, kind of like the click, or kind of like how we have it today, where like it's like go to the next video, click the link above. There's going to be a prompt, and you're just going to be able to click on that prompt, and it's going to just break down all the information you need to know to fully understand what's going on in that show. And I do believe that's possible because if you've ever watched a Amazon Prime video, when you pause it, you know how Amazon has that facial recognition technology on AWS where they go in and they like scan the scene for all of the different actors and actresses, and then they can give you the context of what shows they've been in and fun trivia about the scene and all that because they own IMDb. Like, bro, you could build that for just about anything. You could build that for pickleball. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Right? Like the APIs exist. Like you can do a facial recognition now. You can take that facial recognition data and you can connect that facial recognition data to an API, like a data API. So you're now matching like, oh, this is such and such player. There's this information. And kind of like how Amazon has next gen stats, you could have it now connected to some AI model, whether it be ChatGPT. And it's like, you can generate, or check this out. Like we could say,
yeah, I mean, the idea of an intelligent assistant like that showing up in every single location that we use, like that's essentially the original vision of an Alexa device, or the hardware stuff. So what this is really saying is, no, that's the antithesis. Instead of building Alexa for a device, we have the Alexa, which is ChatGPT, and it's just going to show up everywhere. So the vision is, the same of what AI assistants were supposed to be. So I totally agree with it. It's fascinating. I think the challenge is like, okay, how do you display that information and then deliver it to people? Because people don't read. We don't want to. You don't want to see this all showing up, in the middle of a YouTube video. I want just a quick hit, that 3 sentence or 3 word thing or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's generating a quiz based on what we just learned, and this is pretty cool. It even gives you the answers, which is cool. I agree with you. People don't read. However, people do spend a lot of time watching content. People do spend a lot of time chatting. Like, you look at Discord, you look at Slack, you look at.
So people do read. People do read messages. They read Twitter. Like, they do read, right? We should be careful of not saying that. Like, this specific interface of reading, they don't read this way. Yeah, they also don't read this way.
I don't know.
A big old book.
Yeah, I don't know if that, like. Yes.
So it's delivering the information. That would be the.
But that's all. That's what UI and UX is all about. Like, I mean, like, I think that there's enough interfaces to syndicate this information and disseminate it in ways that it will best be received and engaged with. And, like, I'll leave on this point. Netflix is probably one of the most AI forward companies. No one's interface on Netflix is the same. So if you were to log into Netflix and your mom were to log into Netflix, and then your aunt were also to log into Netflix, you all would have an entirely different interface if you set up your accounts properly. So you're not sharing the same account. And once you're in that interface, you might even see the same top show, but based on your past history and based on what it thinks that you'll like, it's going to show you either different actors and actresses, different descriptions on the show. They'll even give you different images as to, like, what the show is about. So for someone that watches a lot of action movies, if the movie that they're showing you is an action movie, they're going to show you the scene with the action and explosives, right? If it's someone that watches a lot of love, they're going to show that person the romantic scene from that same film as the trailer to bring them in. And their AI models are pretty robust. And so you're getting hit with AI. You don't know it, but it's integrated in your daily life, and you get a chance to see it.
No, certainly. Yeah.
Cool. All right, I gotta run, but